Is it time to completely isolate the Taliban? Because if trampling on basic rights of women was not enough, the Taliban have taken yet another step backward. They have now imposed a ban on Afghan women's ability to go sightseeing. You heard that right. Afghan women are now banned from visiting one of Afghanistan's most popular national parks. What's the reason, you ask? Well, they say women were spotted not wearing their hijab properly. This serves as yet another stark reminder of the harsh reality on the ground. The Taliban continue to impose cruel, anti-women measures, snatching away their basic rights. And the women of Afghanistan remain trapped in an ongoing nightmare. Meanwhile, the rest of the world carries on with their lives. Isn't it high time that we take decisive and impactful steps to isolate the rulers of Kabul? Isn't it time we cut off their sources of revenue and refuse to legitimize their actions any further? These are the questions we pose today to the global community and to those countries that persist in engaging with this internationally sanctioned terror group, those who vouched for the Taliban. But first, let's just get you up to date. The Taliban have issued a ban preventing women from visiting one of Afghanistan's most popular national parks. This decision has been made under the authority of the Minister of Virtue and Vice. Yes, they have a ministry by that name. It's a role that surprisingly exists within the Taliban-controlled Afghanistan. Mohammad Khalid Hanafi, occupying that post, claiming that women have not been wearing their hijabs properly when visiting the park. He stated, and I'm quoting, "Going sightseeing is not a must for women." Can you believe that? Just how ridiculous does that even sound? The sheer absurdity of that statement. Sightseeing is not a must for women. The Taliban must be some unparalleled geniuses, because this reason for barring women is something we haven't heard before. It's remarkable how they managed to articulate such statements. Hanafi has now urged Afghan security authorities as well as religious leaders, in fact, to deny women access to the park until a solution is found. The UN Special Rapporteur, Richard Bennett, has said on the platform X, which formerly was Twitter, he asked, "Can someone please explain why this restriction on women visiting Bande Amir is necessary to comply with Sharia and Afghan culture?" Step by step, one absurd decision at a time, the walls are closing in on women in Afghanistan. Their homes are becoming their prisons. They cannot study, they cannot work, they cannot travel, they cannot go to salons, and now they cannot even go about sightseeing. In spite of their initial assurances, the Taliban have significantly imposed constraints on various aspects of women's lives, disregarding international outcry. The world stands shocked. Yet some countries aim to establish deeper diplomatic relations with the Taliban regime. At least 4 nations, China, Pakistan, Russia, Turkmenistan, have accredited diplomats appointed by the Taliban. While they imprison women to their homes, they jet set to Europe to rub shoulders with American and European officials. They attend international meetings and important summits, while women suffer back home. And these actions suggest what? They hint at the Taliban's path to de facto legitimization. A meeting here and a summit there, the Taliban are inching closer to securing a seat at the tables, even as Afghan girls and women suffer abuse and silencing. The world will occasionally wag a finger, but countries will continue to sign deals with the Taliban for resources, and this perpetuates a cycle. The world seems to have forgotten what happened after America's deal with the Taliban. It was meant to facilitate settlement between the Taliban and the Afghan government. It advocated power sharing. It called for inclusivity. Neither of those promises were kept. Instead, the Taliban's actions harking back to their rule in the late 1990s. when they enforced a strict interpretation of Islamic law. What the world should be doing instead is provide basic emergency relief. This would prevent a humanitarian catastrophe. If the Taliban actually want help in governing Afghanistan differently, they must demonstrate a willingness to change. After all, every summit, every political meeting, every dollar spent on Afghanistan brings the Taliban closer to recognition. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the updates on the move.